The envelope sat on my kitchen counter like a ticking bomb. No return address, just my name written in neat block letters. I'd found it mixed in with the usual bills and junk mail, but something about it made my stomach clench. My name is Margot, and until that moment, I thought I had everything figured out. Successful furniture business, beautiful 5-year-old twin daughters, and a husband who, despite his occasional moodiness, seemed devoted to our family. Funny how one piece of paper can shatter your whole reality. I waited until Sophie and Lily were absorbed in their afternoon cartoons before opening it. My hands trembled slightly as I slid my finger under the flap. A single photograph fell onto the counter, face down. There was a note too, typed in plain text: "Thought you should know what your husband does on his business trips to Chicago." The photo showed Liam sitting at a dimly lit restaurant, leaning close to a woman I'd never seen before. Her hand rested on his arm, fingers curled intimately around his wrist. The timestamp in the corner was from 3 weeks ago, when he'd told me he was closing a major real estate deal. "Mommy, can we have apple slices?" Sophie's voice made me jump. I quickly stuffed the photo and note back into the envelope, forcing a smile. "Of course, sweetie. Go back to watching TV with your sister. I'll bring them in a minute." My phone buzzed, speaking of the devil. Liam's text read, "Stuck in traffic. Don't wait up for dinner." I stared at his message, remembering how he'd been stuck in traffic a lot lately. The signs had been there: late nights at the office, mysterious phone calls he'd take outside, the way he'd grown distant over the past few months. I'd brushed it all off, telling myself I was being paranoid. The girls' laughter drifted in from the living room, and my chest tightened. They were too young to understand why Daddy wasn't home for dinner again. Too innocent to know that their perfect little world might be built on lies. I pulled out my phone again, fingers hovering over Zoe's number. My best friend would tell me to confront him immediately, demand answers. But something held me back. If Liam was hiding this, what else didn't I know? The doorbell rang, making me flinch. Through the peephole, I saw Helen, my mother-in-law, standing there with her usual rigid posture. Perfect timing, as always. "Margot, dear," she said as I opened the door, air-kissing my cheek. I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by to see my granddaughters. Her eyes swept past me, searching the house. "Is Liam home?" "Traffic," I said shortly, watching her face for any reaction. Did she know? Had she always known? Again? She clicked her tongue. "That boy works too hard." But then, the Donovan men have always been dedicated providers. She paused, giving me that familiar look. "Speaking of Donovans, have you and Liam given any thought to trying again? For a boy this time?" I felt the envelope burning a hole in my back pocket. "Actually, Helen, now isn't a good time. The girls need their dinner, and I have some work to finish." She pressed her lips together, clearly disappointed. "Of course, dear. Just remember, the Donovan name needs to be carried on." "Yes, I know." I closed the door perhaps a bit too firmly, leaning against it as her footsteps faded away. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Liam: "Love you. Kiss the girls goodnight for me." I didn't reply. Instead, I pulled out the photograph again, studying the woman's face. She was younger than me, probably late 20s, with an artistic vibe about her. Everything I wasn't. The sound of small feet padding into the kitchen snapped me back to reality. "Mommy?" Lily called. "Where are our apple slices?" I tucked the envelope away, my mind already forming a plan. "Coming, sweetheart. Mommy just needs to make a few calls first." I waited up for Liam that night, the envelope burning a hole in my pocket as I sat in our darkened kitchen. The twins were finally asleep after 3 bedtime stories and countless questions about why Daddy missed dinner again. The clock on the microwave read 11:43 when I heard his key in the door. "You're still up?" He smiled that easy smile that used to make my heart flutter. Now it just made my stomach turn. I thought I told you not to wait. We need to talk. I pulled out the envelope and placed it on the counter between us. His expression didn't change as he loosened his tie. Can it wait until morning? I'm exhausted. No, it can't. I slid the photograph across the granite countertop. Who is she, Liam? He barely glanced at it. A client. Where did you get this? A client who holds your wrist like that? My voice cracked slightly. Don't insult my intelligence. Liam ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I'd once found endearing. You're being paranoid, Margot. It was a business dinner. Riley's an interior designer I'm working with on the Chicago project. Riley. He'd given her a name without meaning to. I filed that away. The same project that was supposed to close 3 weeks ago? I watched his face carefully. The one you said was finished? Things got complicated. He moved toward the refrigerator, his back to me. You know how these deals are. Sometimes they take longer than expected. The casual way he lied made me wonder how many other lies I'd swallowed over the years. Helen stopped by today. His shoulders tensed. What did my mother want? The usual. Wondering when we're going to try for her precious grandson. I laughed, but it came out hollow. Funny timing, don't you think? He turned around, his expression hardening. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just wondering if maybe you've found someone else to give her what she wants. Jesus, Margot. He slammed the refrigerator door. You're turning a business dinner into some kind of soap opera. Is this because I've been working late? Because I'm trying to provide for our family? Are you providing for another family too? The words hung in the air between us. Something flickered across his face, guilt? Fear? Before he masked it with anger. I'm not having this conversation. He grabbed his keys. You're clearly not thinking straight. Where are you going? To a hotel. Call me when you're ready to be rational. I followed him to the front door. The girls will ask where you are in the morning. He paused, hand on the doorknob. Tell them. Tell them Daddy had an early meeting. Another lie to add to the pile? He didn't answer, just walked out into the night. I watched through the window as his car disappeared down our quiet suburban street. My phone buzzed. A text from Zoe, everything okay? You've been quiet all day. I started typing, deleted it, started again. How do you tell your best friend your marriage might be imploding? Before I could decide, another text came through from an unknown number. Ask him about the money. A friend. My hands shook as I read it twice, 3 times. The money? What money? Upstairs, I heard small footsteps. Mommy? Sophie stood at the top of the stairs in her unicorn pajamas, clutching her stuffed rabbit. I heard voices. Where's Daddy? I climbed the stairs and scooped her up, breathing in her sweet, clean scent. Daddy had to go to work early, sweetheart. Let's get you back to bed. But it's nighttime, she mumbled against my shoulder. I know, baby. I know. After tucking her back in beside her sleeping sister, I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. If Liam was hiding something about money, there would be a trail. I just had to find it. The anonymous texter was right about one thing: this wasn't just about the woman in the photo. Something bigger was going on, and I was done being the trusting wife who looked the other way. 3 days of digging through bank statements and credit card bills left me with a migraine and a horrifying discovery. Our joint savings account, which should have held over $200,000, was nearly empty. The money had been bleeding out slowly over the past year, $5,000 here, $10,000 there, always in cash withdrawals. I was staring at the statements spread across my home office desk when Zoe walked in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "The girls are watching Frozen for the millionth time," she said, setting a cup beside me. "Now, what's so urgent that I had to come over at 8 in the morning?" I wordlessly pushed the bank statements toward her. Her eyes widened as she scanned the numbers. "Holy shit, Margot. Where's all this money going?" "I don't know." My voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. "But look at the pattern. The withdrawals always happen within days of his business trips to Chicago." Zoe sat down heavily. "Have you confronted him?" "He came home last night, grabbed some clothes, and left again. Says he needs space until I calm down about the photo." I laughed bitterly. "He doesn't know I've found this yet." My phone buzzed, another text from the unknown number: "Check the safe in his office. Code is his mother's birthday." "Who keeps texting you?" Zoe peered at my phone. "I don't know, but they've been right so far." I stood up. "Watch the girls? I need to check something." Liam's home office was immaculate, as always. The safe was hidden behind a framed photo of our wedding day. My hands shook as I entered Helen's birthday, 0-6-1-9-6-3. The safe clicked open. Inside, I found a stack of papers that made my blood run cold. Loan agreements from places I'd never heard of. IOUs. A letter from something called Golden Palace Casino warning about outstanding debts. "Find anything?" Zoe appeared in the doorway. "He's gambling." The papers trembled in my hands. "He's gambling away our savings, Zoe. The girls' college fund." The doorbell rang, making us both jump. Through the office window, I saw Helen's Mercedes in our driveway. "Perfect timing," Zoe muttered. I shoved the papers back into the safe and hurried downstairs. Helen stood on our doorstep, looking more disheveled than I'd ever seen her. "Where is he?" she demanded, pushing past me into the house. "He's not here." "What's wrong?" "Don't play dumb, Margot. George got a call from the bank this morning. Liam tried to take out a loan against their house." "Their house?" Her voice rose hysterically. "What has he done?" The twins appeared in the living room doorway, drawn by the commotion. Zoe quickly shepherded them back to their movie. "Helen, I think you should sit down." "I will not sit down. This is your fault. If you'd given him a son like I asked, he wouldn't be acting out like this." Something snapped inside me. "Acting out? Your precious son has gambled away our savings and is trying to steal from his own parents. But sure, blame me for not producing a male heir." Helen's face went white. "You're lying." I stormed to the office and returned with the papers from the safe, throwing them on the coffee table. "Am I?" As Helen sank onto the couch, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Liam. "We need to talk. Meeting Riley for lunch at Marino's. Come if you want the truth." My hands clenched around the phone. Riley. The woman from the photo. He was actually asking me to meet his mistress? "What is it?" Zoe asked, returning from checking on the girls. "He wants me to meet him. And her." I looked at Helen, still staring shell-shocked at the evidence of her son's deception. "You know what? I think I will." "Margot, wait," Zoe started. "No. I'm done waiting." I grabbed my keys. "Stay with the girls? This won't take long." As I drove toward Marino's, another text came through from my anonymous informant: "Be careful. There's more at stake than you know." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Whatever truth waited for me at that restaurant, I was ready for it. Or at least, I thought I was. Marino's was packed with the lunch crowd when I arrived. I spotted them immediately: Liam and the woman from the photo, sitting at a corner booth. She was even prettier in person, with an artistic flair that made my designer clothes feel suddenly stuffy and conventional. Riley stood as I approached, extending her hand. You must be Margot. I'm so sorry we're meeting like this. Her sincerity caught me off guard. I'd expected smugness or hostility, not this gentle awkwardness. Sit down, please, Liam said, his voice strained. We need to explain. Explain what? The gambling or the affair? I kept my voice low, conscious of nearby diners. Or maybe how you tried to take out a loan against your parents' house? Riley's head snapped toward Liam. What? You said the money was for our gallery. Our gallery. The words hit me like a slap. It is, Liam insisted, reaching for her hand. Margot, you don't understand. Riley and I have been planning to open an art gallery, she finished, pulling her hand away from his. With the investment money he promised. I laughed, the sound harsh and foreign. Investment money? Is that what he called it? Liam said he was investing his own money, Riley said slowly. From his real estate deals. There are no real estate deals. I pulled out the casino documents, sliding them across the table. Just gambling debts and empty accounts. Riley's face went pale as she read. These dates. This is when you said you were meeting investors in Chicago. I can explain everything, Liam started, but his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his face went ashen. What now? I demanded. Nothing. Just work. He shoved the phone in his pocket, but not before I caught a glimpse of the text, payment due today or we go to the police. Show me the phone, Liam. This is ridiculous. I came here to explain about Riley, not to. The phone. My voice was steel. Now. A tense moment passed before he handed it over. The text was from someone named Marcus, last chance. Payment due today or we go to the police about the forged documents. What forged documents? Riley asked. Liam put his head in his hands. The loan applications. I used Dad's signature. The pieces clicked into place. That's why Helen came over. The bank called them about a loan they never applied for. I was desperate, Liam said. The casino was threatening to expose everything. I just needed time to make it right. By stealing from your parents? From our daughter's future? Riley stood abruptly, gathering her things. I can't. I need to go. Riley, wait, Liam reached for her, but she jerked away. Don't contact me again. She turned to me. I'm so sorry, Margot. I had no idea. After she left, Liam seemed to deflate. I love her, he said quietly. I know that's not what you want to hear, but... Stop. I held up my hand. The only thing I want to hear is how you plan to fix this before our daughters lose everything. I have a plan. A real estate deal that could. More lies? I stood up. You need help, Liam. Professional help. But I won't let you drag us down with you. My phone buzzed, another text from the unknown number. Check your business accounts. Now. Cold dread washed over me as I opened my banking app. The furniture business account was empty. Every penny gone. What did you do? I whispered, showing him the screen. I was going to pay it back, he said desperately. Just give me one more chance. I walked out of Marino's without looking back, my mind racing. The business account had held nearly $500,000, money for payroll, vendors, operating costs. Money that wasn't just mine to lose. In my car, I sat gripping the steering wheel, trying to steady my breathing. My phone buzzed one final time. Now you know everything. What are you going to do about it? What indeed? I hadn't expected to find George Donovan sitting alone on my front porch when I got home. He looked older than I remembered, shoulders hunched under his worn blazer. Unlike Helen's dramatic entrance earlier, His quiet presence felt more ominous. "The girls are napping," Zoe said when I walked in. "Helen left about an hour ago." She was upset. "Her husband's outside." Zoe peered through the window. "Want me to stay?" I shook my head. "I need to handle this." George didn't look up as I sat beside him on the porch steps. We sat in silence until he finally spoke. "I knew about the gambling," he said quietly. "Years ago, before he met you. Had to bail him out twice in college." My hands clenched in my lap. "Why didn't you warn me?" "He promised he'd changed." "And Helen." He sighed heavily. "Helen wanted the marriage so badly. A proper daughter-in-law from a good family, someone to carry on the Donovan name. I was just a breeding mare to her, wasn't I? Helen's always been traditional. When you had girls instead of boys." He trailed off, looking ashamed. My phone buzzed. A text from my business partner: "Emergency meeting tomorrow. Vendors threatening legal action over bounced checks." "He took everything, George. Not just your money or our savings. My business account too." George pulled an envelope from his jacket. "Helen doesn't know I'm here. This is everything we have left in our retirement fund. About 50,000. I stared at the envelope. "I can't take that." "It's not for you." His voice cracked. "It's for my granddaughters. Helen. She'll never admit it, but she loves those girls. Even if they're not the grandsons she wanted." Before I could respond, Helen's Mercedes screeched into the driveway. She stormed up the path, face contorted with rage. "How dare you!" she shouted at George. I checked the account. "You withdrew everything." "Helen, please." "No." She turned on me. "This is your fault. You drove him to this with your career and your independence. A proper wife knows her place." The front door creaked open. Sophie and Lily stood there in their matching pajamas, eyes wide with fear. "Mommy?" Lily's voice trembled. "Why is everyone yelling?" "Girls, go back inside with Aunt Zoe," I said firmly, but Helen wasn't finished. "You see? You can't even control your own children." No wonder Liam needed to find comfort elsewhere. Something snapped inside me. Enough. I stepped between Helen and the girls. "You want to know why your precious son gambled away everything? Why he forged George's signature and emptied my business account? Because he's just like you, desperate to maintain an image that isn't real. How dare. No, how dare you come to my house and scream in front of my children? Your son stole from everyone who loved him, but somehow I'm to blame because I didn't give him a son?" George stood up. "Helen, we should go." "Not without that money." "It's gone," he said quietly. "I gave it to Margot for the girls." Helen's face went white. "You what?" "They're our grandchildren, Helen. Our only grandchildren. I want nothing to do with any of you," Helen spat, storming back to her car. "George, are you coming?" He hesitated, looking between his wife and his granddaughters. Something in his expression made my heart ache. "Go," I said softly. "But the girls' door will always be open for you." After they left, I found Zoe comforting the twins in the living room. Sophie looked up at me with Liam's eyes. "Is Daddy in trouble?" she asked. I sat down, pulling both girls onto my lap. "Yes, sweetheart. But I promise, I'm going to fix everything." My phone buzzed again, the anonymous texter: "There's one more thing you need to know. Check your email." Looking at my daughter's worried faces, I realized revenge wasn't enough anymore. I needed to protect what mattered most, no matter the cost. "Zoe," I said, "can you watch them a bit longer? There's something I need to do." The email from my anonymous informant contained a video. Security camera footage from the Golden Palace Casino, dated 3 months ago. I watched as Liam sat at a high-stakes poker table, Riley beside him, both laughing as he pushed stacks of chips forward. My business account chips, I realized with growing nausea. But it was the next clip that stopped my breath. Liam in a heated argument with a man in an expensive suit, Riley trying to pull him away. The timestamp matched the night of our daughter's 5th birthday party, the party he'd missed because of a work emergency. My phone rang. Riley's number. "I need to see you," she said without preamble. "There's something you should know." We met at a small coffee shop across town. Riley looked different, harder somehow, her artistic whimsy replaced by something darker. "I'm pregnant," she said as soon as I sat down. "And before you say anything, I didn't know about you or the girls when it started." "I swear." The world tilted sideways. "How far along?" 4 months. She pushed a folder across the table. "But that's not why I called. These are copies of everything, the loans, the gambling debts, the threats. I've been keeping records." "Why?" "Because I realized he was playing us both. The gallery was never real, it was just a way to explain where the money was going." She laughed bitterly. "I thought I was helping him invest in our future. Instead, I was helping him launder money from your business." My phone buzzed. A text from Zoe, "Where are you?" "Liam's here. He's drunk and demanding to see the girls." "I have to go," I stood up quickly. "My daughters." "There's one more thing." Riley grabbed my arm. "The man from the casino? He's coming for his money tonight. All of it." I rushed home to find Liam on my front lawn, shouting at my locked door while Zoe tried to reason with him. "Where are my daughters?" he slurred when he saw me. "Safe. Away from you. I'd asked my parents to take them for the night, thank God. You can't keep them from me. I'm their father. The father who stole their college fund for poker chips?" I held up my phone, showing the casino footage. "Or the father who missed their birthday to get in deeper with loan sharks?" He lunged for my phone, but Zoe stepped between us. "Leave, Liam, before I call the police." "Go ahead." He spread his arms wide, laughing manically. "Call them. Tell them how she's keeping my children from me. Tell them." A black SUV pulled up, and 2 men in suits stepped out. My blood ran cold as I recognized one from the casino video. "Mr. Donovan," the larger man said smoothly. "We need to discuss payment." Liam's face went ash white. "Marcus, please. I just need more time." "Time's up." Marcus nodded to his companion, who opened the SUV's back door. "Either we get our money now, or we take a ride to discuss alternatives." "I can get it," Liam said desperately. "Margot, the retirement money your father-in-law gave you." "Is gone," I lied, thinking of the envelope hidden in my desk. "I've already used it to save my business." "You bitch." He lunged at me again, but Marcus's partner caught him. "Wrong answer," Marcus said. "Let's go, Mr. Donovan." As they forced Liam into the SUV, he shouted, "This isn't over. Those are my daughters too." The SUV disappeared into the night, leaving me shaking on my front lawn. "Jesus, Margot," Zoe whispered. "What are you going to do?" My phone buzzed one final time. The anonymous texter, "Now you have a choice. Save him with George's money, or save your daughter's future. Choose wisely." I stared at the message, remembering Sophie and Lily's faces when they asked why Daddy missed their birthday. Remembering Helen's cruel words about proper wives. Remembering every lie, every betrayal, every moment I'd chosen to look the other way. "I'm going to do what I should have done months ago," I said, pulling out my phone to dial 911. "I'm going to protect what matters." But as I pressed the numbers, another text came through from Riley, "Don't call the police. There's something else you need to see first. Riley's text led me to a storage unit on the outskirts of town. She was already there, pacing nervously under the fluorescent lights. I followed him here last week, she said, rolling up the metal door. After I realized what he'd done with the gallery money. The unit was filled with furniture, my furniture. Pieces from my showroom that had mysteriously failed delivery over the past year. But it wasn't just furniture. There were boxes of financial documents, multiple phones, and a laptop. He was selling it all under the table, Riley said. The furniture, the gallery scheme, the gambling, it was all connected. Marcus isn't just a loan shark. He's part of something bigger. I picked up one of the phones. That's why you've been sending me anonymous texts. She nodded. When I figured it out, I knew I had to warn you. But carefully. These people. They're dangerous. Headlights swept across the storage unit. A black SUV pulled up. Right on time, Riley muttered. Marcus stepped out, followed by Liam and another man. When they saw us, Liam's face contorted with rage. You set me up, he snarled at Riley. No, I stepped forward. I did. The police are on their way. They're very interested in where all my inventory disappeared to. Marcus laughed. Police? You really think? I think the FBI is even more interested, I cut in, holding up my phone. Especially in your money laundering operation. My anonymous friend here has been very helpful with documentation. You stupid bitch, Liam lunged forward, but Marcus held him back. The money, Marcus said calmly. Where is it? Gone. Every penny you thought you could squeeze out of my business is gone. I met his eyes. I transferred it all back this morning. Turns out my bank was very understanding about fraud. You're lying. Check your accounts, Riley said. I helped her trace everything through the gallery records. It's over, Liam. Sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus's calm facade cracked. Get in the car, he ordered Liam. Now. No. Liam's voice shook. Margot, please. Think about the girls. They need their father. They need security and truth, I said. Two things you never gave them. He reached into his jacket. I'm not going to prison. Everything happened at once. Riley screamed as Liam pulled out a gun. Marcus and his man dove for their car. And I thought about my daughters, about the life I wanted for them, about the truth I needed them to understand someday. Shoot me then, I said quietly. Show them exactly who their father is. His hand trembled. In the distance, red and blue lights flashed. You ruined everything, he whispered. No, Liam. You did that all on your own. The gun clattered to the ground as police cars swarmed the storage unit. As officers rushed in, I watched them handcuff my husband, the father of my children, the man I'd once loved enough to build a life with. Agent Carter, one officer nodded to Riley. Good work. I turned to her in shock. She gave me a sad smile. I'm sorry for the deception, she said. We've been tracking this operation for months. Your husband's gambling debts gave us our way in. She touched her stomach gently. Some parts weren't an act, though. I thought about all her anonymous texts, how they'd led me here, how they'd helped me protect what mattered most. The girls, I said suddenly. I need to get to my girls. Go, Riley nodded. We'll need your statement tomorrow, but for now, go be with your daughters. As I drove home, my phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number, you did good, Margot. Your daughters have quite a mother. I deleted the message, thinking about the story I'd someday tell Sophie and Lily. Not about revenge or betrayal, but about truth and strength, and how sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that save us. 6 months later, I stood in my newly renovated showroom, watching Sophie and Lily chase each other between the furniture displays. The store's grand reopening was tomorrow, and despite everything, we'd survived. "No running, girls," I called out, though I couldn't help smiling. Their laughter echoed through the space, drowning out the lingering ghosts of the past year. The bell above the door chimed. George stood there, looking uncertain until the twins spotted him. "Grandpa." They rushed to hug him, and for a moment, I saw tears in his eyes. "I brought something," he said, pulling out a small package. "Found it while cleaning out the attic." Inside was a wooden music box, intricately carved. "Helen's grandmother made this," he explained. "For her first daughter. But she only had Liam, so." "It's beautiful," I said softly. "Helen wanted me to tell you she's sorry." He shifted uncomfortably. "She's been different since the trial." I nodded, remembering Helen's face in the courtroom as Liam was sentenced. 7 years for fraud and money laundering. The proud Donovan name, tarnished by her only son. "The girls miss her," I admitted. "They can visit if she'd like. But there need to be boundaries." "She understands." He watched the twins examining the music box. "You know, Liam asked to see them." My hands clenched instinctively. "What did you tell him?" "That it's not his choice anymore. That some privileges, once lost, have to be earned back." The bell chimed again. Riley walked in, her pregnancy now obvious beneath her flowing dress. "Sorry I'm late," she said. Morning sickness doesn't care about schedules. The FBI investigation had ended months ago, but Riley had stayed in town. We'd formed an unexpected friendship, bound by shared betrayal and eventual healing. "Aunt Riley." The girls abandoned the music box to greet her. They'd taken to her immediately, unaware of the complicated history between us. "I should go," George said. "Helen's waiting." He hesitated. "The music box. It should stay in the family. With them." After he left, Riley helped me arrange the final displays while the twins played nearby. "Have you decided what to tell them?" she asked quietly. "About their brother or sister?" I watched my daughters, so innocent and resilient. "The truth, eventually. That family isn't just about blood or names. It's about choices and trust. And second chances?" She touched her stomach meaningfully. "Some kinds," I agreed. "The earned ones." Later that night, as I tucked the girls into bed, Sophie asked the question I'd been dreading. "Mommy, is Daddy ever coming home?" I sat on the edge of their bed, choosing my words carefully. "No, sweetheart. But that doesn't mean he doesn't love you." "Because he made bad choices?" Lily asked. "Yes. And sometimes, loving someone means letting them face the consequences of their choices. Like when we have to sit in timeout?" I smiled, stroking her hair. "Something like that." After they fell asleep, I found the envelope George had given me months ago, still unopened in my desk. The retirement money he'd tried to save us with. I'd never needed it. The business insurance and FBI recovery of assets had covered most losses. But I'd kept it, unsure why. Now I knew. Tomorrow, I'd open a new account, 2 actually, 1 for each girl. Not for college or emergencies, but for something more important, choices. So they'd always have the freedom to choose their own paths, unburdened by anyone else's expectations or mistakes. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, not Riley this time, but someone new. "He's asking questions about the girls. Watch your back." I deleted it without responding. Whatever came next, we'd face it together, me and my daughters, stronger for what we'd survived, wiser for what we'd learned. The music box sat on their dresser, its melody faint but clear in the quiet room. Not a lullaby of revenge or regret, but of renewal. Of beginnings that come after endings, and the courage to choose them.